Hey friends, this is Jennifer Terri and welcome to another Philippine Travel Update. How are you all? Welcome back to my channel. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. In today's update, July 15, we'll talk about flight advisories, travel restrictions, quarantine classification in the Philippines, and a little bit about domestic tourism. Let's start with flight advisories. So it was announced today by the Philippine Airlines that their flights or international flights from Manila to the USA, Guam, Honolulu, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York will depart from Terminal 2. So this change in departure terminal is necessary because of the rehabilitation work being undertaken in Terminal 1. So it's only about that. It's only a change in terminal departure. Very small thing. Moving forward, they also have a special flight to London next month. That's Manila to London, London to Manila on August 10. You may book through their website if you want to avail this flight. Do note that for flights Manila to London, they will only carry British nationals, Irish nationals, and persons with UK residence. Moving forward, Cebu released their flight advisory, international and domestic flights in Cebu Airport, and it is good news. It's such a big difference. It's an increase compared to the last months. So for this month, there are 8 different international airlines that will fly to and from Cebu. First up, we have Qatar Airlines or Airways. That's Doha to Cebu. That's 5 times weekly, Monday to Friday. And then Emirates Dubai to Cebu, and then Cebu to Dubai. That's 2 times weekly. For EVA Air, there's Taipei to Cebu, Cebu to Taipei, only July 28. So with EVA Air, there's been a lot of suspensions because of the transit restrictions in Taiwan. But for Scoot Airways, there's Singapore to Cebu. It's only 1 times a week, every Sunday. This was my flight, guys. Very smooth. Next up, we have Cathay Pacific. That's Hong Kong to Cebu. That's 2 times a week, every Wednesday and Friday. There's Jeju Air, Incheon, Korea to Cebu on July 30. And then there's Jin Air, Incheon to Cebu as well, July 18 and 25. And then Philippine Airlines, Los Angeles to Cebu, Cebu to Los Angeles, every Saturday. There's also Narita to Cebu, Cebu to Narita, once a week, effective July 24. So there you go. And do note that swab test in Cebu is free, but you'll be swabbed twice, upon arrival and on the 7th day, or 5th day if you're qualified for green lanes. And for their domestic flights, there are heaps po. There are lots of domestic flights in Cebu. If you're worried, if you're not a resident of Cebu, don't worry, there are domestic flights. If your domestic flight is not mentioned here, then you'll be taking a Cebu to Manila flight, and then from Manila, go to wherever you are going. And then for Clark Airport, for their July international flights, they have Jetstar with Singapore to Clark in Singapore. And then they also have Scoot Airways, Clark to Singapore, Singapore to Clark. And then there's Jeju Air, Incheon to Clark, Clark to Incheon on July 23. And then Incheon to Clark, Clark to Incheon on July 26 with Jin Air. There you go. And then there's Qatar Airways, Doha to Clark, Clark to Doha. And then there's Emirates, Dubai to Clark, Clark to Dubai. So for our kababayans in Dubai, you might be wondering, oh, ang dami naman palang scheduled flights. Dubai to Manila or Dubai to Clark or Dubai to Cebu. That is because po they will be only carrying transit passengers. Means mga passengers po galing sa ibang bansa, hindi po galing sa Dubai or sa UAE. Now, today, they also announced, the government or the IATF announced the quarantine classification of the whole Philippines. Hay nako, for those coming home soon, coming here for a vacation, watch out. Those who are arriving within these 2 weeks, no? Kung plano nyo pong mag-beach, kung plano nyo magpakasal, plano nyo mag-big birthday, yan, pakitingnan na. Kung MECQ po, sorry po, baka... Naku po, you may be allowed to have your wedding or your binyag, but very, very limited bisita lang po. That's MECQ. A few places no in Davao region. Majority of us are in MECQ. Talagang wala masyadong ganap, guys. GCQ, tourism is allowed, but with certain capacity limitation. So just find your area there. So Metro Manila is on GCQ now. And then some areas are still on GCQ heightened restrictions. And then for those who will be going home to an area under MGCQ, Swerte mo, girl, kasi marami kang magagawa. You can even go domestic tourism. Marami kang magagawa, guys. Yung MECQ lang talaga yung mahirap, guys. Kung MECQ kayo at uuwi kayo sa lugar ninyo, talagang family bonding lang po iyan. Magagawa niyo. Despite of this, more areas in the Philippines are opening up for domestic tourism. And this is why domestic airlines in the Philippines are ramping up on their vaccinations for their airline employees. As you can see here, guys, 60% of airline employees by AirAsia has been fully vaccinated. Cebu Pacific, 47%, and with PAL, that's 50%. So we're hoping that very soon we'd be seeing like 90%, 100%, no? Because these our frontline workers, no? Airline employees. Speaking of travel restrictions, it was a very sad day for our kababayans from the 7 or now 8 countries. The ban or the restriction has been fifth time na po extended. Extended na naman. So, napakarami pong Pilipino ang apektado sa ban na ito. Lalong-lalo na sa UAE because that is the second country in the world with the most number of OFWs. Kaya ang dami pong apektado dyan. At hindi lamang din OFWs, meron ding mga Pilipino na pumunta ng Dubai para ma-meet yung foreign fiancé nila or boyfriend na abutan din ng restriction. Yung repatriation po ay limited lang and they will only be carrying those covered by the priority, no? Buntes, overstay, medical condition, ganyan. So, sa mga hindi po dyan qualified under that priority, the only option is maghintay na malift ang ban, maghintay ng announcement for the special commercial flight, or yun ngang pumunta ng ibang bansa at mag-spend ng 14 days doon. Look, we understand our government is being very careful because once this Delta variant spreads in the Philippines, ay naku po, we've seen how bad it was in other countries, no, in our neighboring countries. We don't want that to happen in our very own country, but we Filipinos from abroad, we will follow the protocols, no, and we're asking to the Philippine government, please consider our stranded Filipinos in the 7 countries. We appreciate these repatriation flights po, but it is not enough po. How long do our kababayans have to wait? Yung mga pera sanang ginagastos na nila sa pamilya nila, ginagastos nila para tustusan yung kanilang living expenses. Hindi din naman basta-basta makahanap ng work. Kasi yung pandemic po, lahat ng mundo apektado din. And unfortunately nga, nadadag na din yung Indonesia sa travel restriction dahil nga doon sa pagtaas ng Delta variants or cases, ng COVID cases sa Indonesia. So our kababayans who are affected by this travel restrictions, Filipino citizens in Indonesia who are in distress and want to request assistance from the Philippine Embassy, you should contact the Assistance to National Section through email. This email po, jakarta.atn@yahoo.com, or mobile number or WhatsApp. This is also the official telephone number for details on available assistance options, eligibility, and requirements. For those who will be transiting, and let's say you'll be transiting in Dubai or whatever, in Indonesia or in Oman or in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, don't worry po if you're only transit lang. If it's only transit, it's okay. You're not covered by this travel restriction. You can still enter the Philippines. The quarantine is still the normal quarantine period for you, 10 days or 7 days po. It's still the same. Basta transit lang, wag na po kayo lumabas ng airport. And this is why it is recommended po that when you buy tickets, try po as much as you can that you can get a ticket that is single ticket po, not separate tickets on different airlines. To ensure a convenient and hassle-free trip to the Philippines, Filipinos or even balikbayans and foreigners who are traveling to the Philippines are advised to purchase a single ticket itinerary and be checked through the origin point all the way to Manila as the final destination. It is important to confirm with the airline to the country of origin that they will be able to complete their travel to Manila with the travel tickets purchased. Kasi po, you'd be surprised that these airlines, you'll buy this ticket and then you will find out, hindi pala yun pwede. Hindi pala pwedeng mag-transfer ng ibang terminal. Hindi pala pwedeng mag-transit sa bansang ito. Opo. They will not tell you. This is why traveling during the pandemic, you have to be vigilant with the different rules of all the countries involved in your travel, including your transit countries. So for example, if you are coming from Europe, Africa, or America, transit in Istanbul, and then transit in Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea, or Taiwan to Manila, that is a problem po. So for example, with Singapore, you cannot just transit with any airlines lang. Only passengers traveling with an airline approved by the civil authority in Singapore are allowed to transit in Singapore. So for example, transfers between Singapore Airlines, Scoot, Air France, KLM, Air Niugini, Garuda, Lufthansa, Swiss, International Airlines, Turkish Airlines are approved for transit in Singapore. Now, any other airlines not mentioned, not allowed. And also be careful with the RT-PCR requirements po of different airports. So for example, Singapore, even if it's only transit, RT-PCR is required. And for example, in Taiwan is still closed for transit as of now. That is extended until July 6. So hopefully, marami tayong kababayan na may ticket with Eva Air. Sana nga malift na itong restriction for transit, no? So just be aware po that transits, there are also restrictions. First, is it allowed? Second, may requirements ba for RT-PCR? That's the two questions that you need to know before you buy that ticket. And good news with the vaccination in the Philippines, more Filipinos are now willing to get COVID-19 shots. According to the survey of social weather stations, 45% of Filipinos are willing to get vaccinated. That is an increase compared to last month. It was only 32%. Today, sinamahan ko yung uncle ko magpa-COVID vaccine, di ba? So let us encourage our families in the Philippines to get vaccinated. If we all want to go back to normal, if we want no quarantine, no swab testing, no restrictions, can go to the beach anytime, can have big parties, vaccination is the key. That is the reality. Vaccination is the only key to going back to normal. So get vaccinated po if you can. If you're eligible, go and get that jab. So that is all the update for today, guys. Herd immunity in the Philippines will be achieved still on January 2023, and the vaccines that we have right now is enough to fully vaccinate 15.56% of the 70 million target for herd immunity. So vaccines for more. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions, comment down below, and I'll see you again with another travel update. For those who will be traveling soon, Non OFWs, don't forget your ECIF, your hotel booking, your Trace app, and then the travel requirement, whether is that Philippine passport or old Filipino passport, birth certificate, or visa, or DFA exemption. So you guys already know what you need, diba? So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again with another travel update. God bless you all. Bye!